Okay, it's good to see you guys. Hi Ben, hi Ben again. All right, so we're getting started already. Um, Thank you, Dorcas. Thank you, Damisola, Adironke, Chiamaka, and Lillian Cialo for joining us. For the record, Lillian and Cialo are the organizers of Beyond the Wireframe. If you see Beyond the Wireframe on LinkedIn, they are the founders and organizers of that forum. So they are here to support us. So let's give them some emojis for being here. My name is Lizzie. We all know, just for those that are joining us for the first time. And we are here from, we have Benjamin Onyebuchi is a senior designer and is an AI expert. We have Benjamin Osage. He's also a senior designer. We have Magzi. Magzi is a web designer and a product designer. He's also a senior in his field. Um, we have Magzi. No, that's a Magzi. Emilson. Emilson is also a senior in his field. Is a graphics designer, brand designer, and is a freelance expert. He's one of the top guys eating money on Upwork. So if you want to get tips and hacks on how to how to win on Upwork or what's that other one? Fiverr, right? MEC is here to give us all of that um, you know, tips and hack. So, without much ado, I would like us to start with an icebreaker. So, I'll be asking series of questions. Yeah, I'm going to be asking our guest speakers, but it's for every one of us. So, the audience, you can put it in the chat. You can put your response in the chat. So, the rest of us can reply the question. So, we're just having an icebreaker session right now. Okay. So, let me start with with one first question. Are we ready? First question is, what is one design trend you are happy to leave behind in 2025? So 2025 is going out, right? We are heading towards 2026. So what is that one design trend you're happy to leave behind? So Benjamin Oyebuchi, would you please give us answer to that? While others can put it in the chat. Can you guys still hear me, please?
Yeah. Um, oh yeah. Your voice kind of low. If I heard you well, you said one design trend happy to leave behind in 2025.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think one of the trends is actually um, lazy co-piloting. Yeah, so this is just more like an ability to allow AI do most of the work without interaction. So I know a lot of designers out there have been pushed pushed with a lot of information from social medias on work socials like LinkedIn platforms as well. Well, they have been introduced to a lot of AI tools to get familiar with. Some have also been introduced with bad vibes on AI being able to replace them and all. I think one of those popular trends among designers is their ability to create something without wanting to improve what was created. Yeah, let's say for example, you're working on a specific website for maybe an e-commerce platform that is focused on selling shoes, for example. Now on the AI tool, you just indicate create a design brief for that certain kind of e-commerce platform, and then you copy and paste it in your maybe Notion docs and the rest. That's actually what we call lazy co-pilot. In most cases, we need to also get involved in what we call refinement of those brief that were generated, or maybe those information AI must have given you. It shouldn't be a case where whatever you give it, you accept it. There's literally a disclaimer on AI platforms that tells you that most of the informations here could also be mistakes. Always do well to
Check.
double check responses. I'm sure you guys have seen some kind of disclaimers like that directly below whenever you want to start using any of your popular AI prompts like Google Gemini, ChatGPT, and Cloud. Yeah, so as a designer, I believe one of those things we should leave behind this year is that lazy style of prompting. We should be more involved in refinement. In that way, we as designers be able to get unique informations out of what we want. You understand? Out of what we want to build, everything comes out unique, and to not be a case where and all of you out of 10, maybe like 8 of them decide to type in the same thing. And obviously AI will not give you exactly the same information, but it tends to give something similar. You understand? And those similar will always look alike one way or the other. It's just that maybe one is starting before the other, or there may be a bit of paraphrasing and stuff like that. So these are things that we should drop by as designers. Because
Okay.
as designers, we are supposed to be orchestrators, you understand? And if you're being a product designer. So now it's not just about trying to understand people's experience through user research alone, but also trying to be more business wise, stand for the product you are building as well. Especially if you are someone who believes you want to stay long in maybe in a particular company. You don't want a case where you only be seen for pixel pushing. I think that is the reason why a lot of designers tend to lose their job quite early, because the only thing they are called for is to design. They are barely reached out for maybe forms of insight, maybe giving more insight how the business can be improved and stuff like that, because all they know how to supposed to know that you're not the best when it comes to pixel out there. So you should do more than just pushing out pixels or just using AI as a simplistic tool, you understand, to push out what you want, or maybe for a tax and all. I hope this helps.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. I hope somebody got something. Yeah. Okay. This is to Brenda.
You're welcome.
Brenda is a developer. She's a mobile developer. So I'm going to be asking her a design question. If you could master any design skill instantly, Brenda, what would it be and why?
Okay, I would speak from a developer angle. I would say understanding design principles offhand. So when I'm building like a mobile application, be it Android or iOS, I like to understand how are the designs in this particular OS, for instance, Android or iOS. I would go and read about it. Um, um, I'm not just building for myself. I'm building design doesn't sit well on a particular OS. For instance, iOS. Let's say I'm building a cross-platform, and the design looks good on Android. That doesn't look good on iOS. It's going to be bad experience for users that are using iOS, for instance. So for me, you spend more time understanding making it work before you make it fine. As a developer, we usually just want to make it work before we make it fine. Yes, but I would try going forward to work hand in hand with designers to actually make it fine and make it work. Yeah, that would be what I'll be doing going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. I would really appreciate that. That's so much. Like, that's very important and it's so dear to our hearts. Speaking on the behalf of all designers here. Okay. Um, Ben Osage, what is one tool or technique you discovered this year that changed how you work?
of one tool or technique you discovered this year that changed how you work?
Yeah.
Um, first, first and foremost, I would say AI assisted design assistant, more like AI assistant, AI powered design assistant, quote unquote. Now, how do I say this now? Literally, before we are just doing in our UX process or design process, we tend to walk around our user personas, user flow, etc. But now, in the advent of AI, we have noticed that things are gradually shifted or gradually changed from what we know before to something that is now more advanced. Like an enabler, it's not supposed to take over what you do. I will take a cue from what my namesake said. He spoke about that also. That yes, AI will give you. It's more like a computer, garbage in, garbage out. What you prompt is what will give you. But on the long run, you should have the human intelligence, quote, and information that AI will always proofread for you. So to me, it has been AI assisted, AI powered design assistants. Yes, ChatGPT has done its own part in terms of image creation, daily E, mid journey, and so on and so forth. This has kind of speed up the workflow of various processes that a designer does in a particular setup, organization, or startup, as the case may be. So those are some of the techniques I will look into because it's something that we continually use. Right? Can you still hear me? Something that
Yes.
consistently still use on the long run. So as much as possible, AI should be like a partner. Not yes, we do some critical thinking, quote unquote, but AI kind of make your work faster. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. So my question to the senior designer in the house would be, what's your lazy portfolio hack? Okay, we're coming back to your question, Faith. So, but before then, let's have Benjamin Onyebuchi give us um, details about what AI is and how it effectively, help us as designers. So, Ben, the floor is yours. And after that, we'll take live questions and other things.
Around early this year, I had an opportunity, and it wasn't just specific to product designers. I also had the opportunity to talk with the graphic designers as well, aside also those who are also into maybe like video editing and the rest, animations and so on and so forth. I also had an opportunity to introduce myself as someone who's very good with AI prompting. Who is easygoing with budding designers who are willing to learn, put their heads down to grow. I myself have been pretty much involved in design mentorship, also build products for startups, and many more. So I have my own personal agency as well. On the other side, I got an opportunity to introduce the understanding of AI in today's world. Yeah. What people don't actually understand is AI have been of chat. I believe 100% of everyone here actually use autocorrect on their mobile phone, but they are not actually aware that it's actually AI. Now, these are some of the have this kind of conversation with other people, and to my surprise, a lot of them don't get to the ending. They've never even seen some of these errors that I see. You understand? That tells a lot because sometimes most people just create one page, ask question, create another page, ask one question, whereas some end up building an entire session on one chat. Now we also have the ethical consideration. So this is one of the things I always talk about. Nigeria is still and still a lawless country, but it's not like that here in the UK. You understand? So there are some things you don't just put on the AI to read. You understand? I don't know how it is over there in terms of the legal proceedings in Nigeria, for example. But I can tell you that you don't just put anything on AI, and especially if you are caught in your workplace using generative tools, pushing out companies' product without authorization, you could get not just sacked, you could also get tried to court. So I also spoke about the usage of cloud and GPT. Sometimes initially it used to be a case of preference. If you still like using the hyphen, you can use GPT. If it's the issue is regarding how to remove those hyphens while using GPT, we have Grammarly. Grammarly does the work perfectly for you on that cases. When it comes to copy, you can go with Cloud or you can go with Gemini. You understand? These two are the best when it comes to copy. But you know you want some kind of will fail a lot in when using AI is how to prompt. Yeah, so everybody goes with the basic conversation and prompting. Do you know you can actually go with the basic conversation and prompting if you actually give your AI to like an abundant amount of like, and also chat GPT. We have what we call project. So under the case of project, you can actually build your own, like your own space and medium where every kind of specific chat in which you want to have, aside the general chat in which you always start up with, can happen here. So now in a maybe like working on resumes for juniors, maybe having what they call it what they call maybe building brief design brief, setting up some kind of receipt and invoices on client this year. AI models like Gemini, I don't know about Gemini, but Cloud and Chat GPT introduce what we call memories. Now, with the aid of memories, you're able to keep as much information as possible, house and remember. Now, I don't have any communication with ChatGPT, and before you know it, maybe you've gone to a very long session. ChatGPT starts to deviate. It doesn't start giving you the exact thing you need. You have to even start reminding it, and then it starts to apologize. Now, that is what we actually call hallucination. So AI hallucinates a lot regarding that hallucination is memory. I think ChatGPT has done so well in improving memory. So how well is this memory? So what it actually does is if you have a chat conversation you started in one page, and for someone like me who exhausts a page, you can actually continue your entire chat conversation from the initial page and start it up in another page. I did this a lot of time, especially like during my dissertation last year. Yeah, obviously they will tell you do not use AI for dissertation. I can start using zero GPTs and the rest to maybe try and hide your tracks. All those things don't actually work. You understand? It's just like using AI to hide AI. Like seriously,
Exactly.
if they actually wanted to cover the tracks from the onset, they can actually do that in all this model. There's a reason why AI still has AI not human alone, and that comes to where we have personalization on a particular thing you're working on. You need to have instructions. I tend to create instructions. One of the most important things I put out there is telling you to provide all necessary information, regardless of the responses, in British language. And then we also talk about other kinds of responses, like giving me. Once I have this set of instruction made available here, I also go as far as providing files. So, like I said, this is for Bembix Studio. So, how does this work? I'm able to, so in a case where, in fact, it acts like I do, it becomes my library. So when I have something I want, it can always do it for me. So for example, you different from others, how to create your own space, have all your tons of information made available on that particular space and build. Now, in a case where I want to work on a resume. Prompt type, I'm not doing chain of thought, few shots. I'm simply just communicating like it's human. You understand? I could tell it I have a mentee. I would like to work on work on her. Sorry about the typo. I typed too fast in my head things. Yeah, so we talk about this. It communicates with me and then probably asks me, yeah, about CV details and have my resume inside here as well. So it's going to keep building other people's resume based off how I built my own resume. And my resume was actually built with it, you understand, as well. So inside all the memories regarding it is stored inside there. Yes, if you want project, Under projects, we have different kinds of projects. For example, these these literally different communications regarding just stuff that I worked on Ghostwrite. Now, the biggest there's a part in your settings where you can go to, which enables you to actually what do they call it, turn off your data. You understand? So this is it here to help improve cloud. If you don't want the other things you can do is probably telling the AI tool to build more like a prototype. You can't tell the AI to build a fully functional platform for you. Obviously, that is even lazy. That is lazy prompting at the highest. So I think these are the best way to outline how you want it. Rather than going with build a certain thing for me, you can always go with maybe some
Recording is on.
or so you can also go with some kind of context, like maybe
Recording
something
is on.
or so you can also go with some kind of context, like being specific with your role. Now, cases like this will be a case where you don't have it under a project. So, like maybe it's not here, so it doesn't know you. AI doesn't know you. Yes, now, but a case where the AI knows you, it can go directly with indicating the tasks, the core pages you like to work on, the tasks, the design languages, technical requirements, and then voila, you post it and it develops. Now, one of the easiest AI tool out there when it comes to getting the best wireframe for you that is functional, especially as a designer who may actually lack maybe front end knowledge, and the rest is actually Gemini. So, with the aid of Gemini, you can actually develop a full functional prototype. Yes, and if you don't want to do it here, you don't want to do it here, you can also do it on what they call it on Figma as well. So I'm sure you're aware of the Figma tool called Figma Make. You understand? Figma Make, actually the third-party platform used for working on Figma Make is actually um, cloud. You understand? So with the aid of cloud, you can actually build similar things like this. And if you're wondering if this is functional, yes, it is. It's actually functional. I can change everything here, and it's going to work perfectly. It's going to update on the right side as many information as possible. All these were built with AI. Now imagine how much it takes you to actually design this thing as as a designer on Figma. And the cool part about it is how you can still push this design to Figma directly. I mean, sorry, this development to Figma directly once you're done. Or you can also make it available for the public to, to see the kind of conversation you might have had with AI to achieve all this. It wasn't done in one prompting. It requires tons of conversations, multiple amount of conversations before it was perfected. Now, in the case of this, now when you tell the AI to like cloud that you want to or you want to build help structure, so it's confusing this conversation here. Work on this and then give it just one simple um uh, next. Yeah, so once you do that, obviously the prompting takes time because when you're building an intensive code,
Recording is on.
so sometimes I tend to advise that you find that particular keyword that you need when it comes to building the code that you need a certain code. There's a different code for ChatGPT compared to the one used for cloud. When you want it to actually show you an interactive UI, like each tools have their own way of calling out something for development, and it actually does it very well. And this is similar to what we call vibe coding. There's a lot of developers out there tend to use this. In the case they want to build on one simple project as fast as possible without the aid or the need of having a designer, they tend to use the AI tools. I think there are also a bunch of other AI tools that can go much complex in building these things and making them very interactive. It doesn't just stop at being interactive or accessible here. You are also able to download this file, maybe as a developer, since you're familiar with the code syntax and the rest, and then push it into your studio. I've forgotten the name of that tool again. I think I used to use it before. I don't use it anymore. Still more design focused than the rest. Yeah, so when it comes to this, it's going to take time. Sorry about that. So I'm just trying to make sure saying something. So we have simple prompt. So if you had done just the basic prompt like this, the AI is going to still ask you questions. Now, one tool I'm pretty sure that is never going to ask you questions is probably going to be ChatGPT. ChatGPT has not been a big fan when it comes to having conversation. But over time, I think they are improving on that. The last time ChatGPT was very conversational was 3.5. Currently, ChatGPT is on 5.1, and at least the current ChatGPT tool I've been using have been quite conversational. That's what I can say. But the best when it comes to a beginner in having maybe in prompting and the rest will probably be cloud. So when you start with providing an information like this, it will ask you questions. It doesn't just go straight to the point and start prompting. So yes, this is going to be the basic tool. Yeah, I told you to actually build a mobile app for me. You understand? So this is a functional mobile app for a new banking called Nova. You understand? So and I also provided it with the functionality that it will have. I'm sure these are actually a familiar interface that you are all I'm sure you are pretty much aware of in most of these fintech apps. You understand? You can see you have a quick sense, you can see recent activities here, you're able to access the insight, you're able to send money to people, and obviously you can also see profile. And these are the basic things you tend to get access to, and these are the kind of things you can build. But like I said, I don't think you should be expecting the AI tool as a source of design inspiration in terms of UI. But if you're talking about functionality. Oh, how does this thing function because you're not familiar with it? Or maybe there are some apps there that you can't really get access to. AI can actually help you with that. You don't always have to download a lot of app in order to interact with them and understand how they function. You understand? AI also have those knowledge as well and can help you build something interactive in which you can work with and build maybe your next case study, your next client project, and many more. Understand? Obviously, this thing tend to have limit, and like I said, it's downloadable. So the developers can download the JX file and use on their own end, see the implementation, make some quick changes and fixes, make it more better, and many more. So this is basically what you have here. It can be done on cloud, can be done on ChatGPT, and it can also be done on Google Gemini as well. And yet, the best part about it is also available on Figma Make. For those who have access to Figma Make, yeah, you can get it here. If you don't have access to Figma Make, you can apply for being maybe Figma education using your student email. If you still have student email with you, you can use that to gain access to it, and then voila, you'll be provided with the tools. One of them is Figma Make, the other one is Web, and many more. So, I know I've spoken so much. Before I finalize this whole thing, does anyone have any question you'd like to ask? I'm seeing a lot of chat. I hope it's not okay. Yeah, Visual Studio Code. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah. So, does anyone have any question? Do you feel like there's something you want to test out before I finalize this conversation? Anyone? 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 Or nobody has been hearing me speak. Can anybody hear me? Mm, okay, that's a good thumb up. So no question. I assume there's no question. So I'm going to answer someone's question, and that was Faith. Is Faith still here? I don't think so. Faith is not here. Rebuilding, feeling lazy. I don't want to be stuck in the. I'll work on it tomorrow. Hmm. I don't know if this session is recorded. I can still help Faith and answer a question, if you don't mind. So, Faith, as regarding I'm working in a portfolio, yeah, there are actually tons of lazy way doing that. One of the laziest ways is actually telling AI to do the entire thing for you. So, scratch. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you. Lizzie, you're talking. I'm not hearing you. Um, that's bad. Okay. Um, mm,
Hello, Ben. Can you hear me?
I think I can hear you now. That's a bit light.
Can you hear me?
Not that good. I think when you stop here, and so you don't delay the rest of the session. Uh, yeah. 10. Right. Thank you.
Hear me.
Should I go ahead or you want to wrap up what you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to take one question from the house, but you can just go ahead. No problem. There, you can drop your questions in the chat if you have a question for Ben. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just try to put up my slide so I don't take. Just let me know when you can see my screen, please. Can we see my screen, please?
It's still coming up. Yeah, I can see your screen now. Cool.
All right. Ben, thank you so much. That was a very, very enlightening session. Okay. So, very quickly, we'll be talking about niching, choosing your perfect niche as a designer. And then I already have this slide up so we can see clearly what we're going to be talking about. But if you were present last year, I think about this time last year with Lizzie, where we talked about choosing your perfect niche, we actually we actually delved deeper into this whole niching thing, at least at the foundational level, where we talked about niching in a broader perspective. I think we talked about niching as having clarity. Can we still see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So we talked about niching as finding, knowing exactly what you want to do, finding your I want to focus on, and not just saying okay as an amateur, not just saying okay I want to focus here, but becoming an expert in that position. So I'll just be giving us a like a brief on what we talked about last year before I go straight into something more enlightening that I want to share with us as regards niching, right? So here we have on the slide clarity, focus, and expert positioning. And then on the net, it says your niche sits where passion plus skills plus market needs meet. So quickly, that area that you are planning to niche in, it has to be something that you are passionate about. I know, yes, there's always this talk about okay, passion may not fetch you money, so do what you're not passionate about. Whilst I agree with that, I would also say that sometimes you have to be very patient with what you're passionate about. You have to be patient with it because last year we talked about a generalist and a specialist, right? And then I asked a question to the audience, which I'm going to be bringing up again. I asked the question. I said, we have, let's say you are a parent right now. I'm talking to the people listening right now. So let's say you are a parent and then you want to hire a math teacher for your child. I mean, mathematics. You want to hire a math teacher for your child. So teacher A studied English. He's good in mathematics. He's also good in biology. And then he has a success rate of training at least 10 persons who have done well in mathematics. While teacher B studied mathematics, he has a success rate of 100 persons who have done well in mathematics. And of course, okay, for teacher A spends, let's say he spends about 5 hours studying math every day and also studying English and biology. While for teacher B spends 5 hours every day studying just mathematics. And he has a success rate of, let's say, 50 to 100 persons who he has trained and they've passed mathematics. Who would you want to hire? Of course, you would want to hire the specialist, which is teacher B, who, yes, studied mathematics and then he spends more time studying mathematics and he has trained a lot of persons to pass mathematics. So you know that this person's focus is mathematics. The same way when you want to hire an engineer, for example, you have a house and then you decide that, okay, I have, even if you're giving it to a contractor, the contractor will still decide that, okay, fine, I hire the bricklayer for laying of the foundation and doing all that. When it gets to the part where we need to do the fittings, electrical fittings, I'm not going to be saying this bricklayer is an expert in it. I'll be looking for somebody who is an expert in doing electrical fittings because I want the best. And I believe that subconsciously, people just believe that when you are focused on a particular area and then you have success result, that's where expert positioning comes in. That's why it's there. You focus on a particular area and you have success result in that particular area. They believe that yes, you are the right man to do that job. So you naturally get more people drawn to you when you are focused in a particular area than when you are a generalist and then you have several areas that you put yourself out there that this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. Yes, you seem like you are vast when you are spread out like that at the start. We are getting somewhere, so I believe if you're having questions right now, your questions will be answered at the end. So you seem like you are vast when you are spread out at the start, but you notice that you will just be lost of in the pool of the market where you are struggling to get gigs just like every other person is struggling to get gigs. But when you are focused, you can be identified, you can be targeted to a specific area and say, okay, fine, I work with this person. So let me quickly move so I don't spend much time on this particular slide because this is not where we are spending the whole time today. Okay. So last year we also talked about the 6 niching steps, and then we talked about passion meets profit. So we're giving practical steps, and one of the things we said was to list the things that you love, and then identify your unique skills and style. Then for 3, define the problem you solve and who it helps. Then for 4, test your niche through research and samples. So for 1, I already emphasized that. 2 as well. So for 3, define the problem you solve and who it helps. So whatever area you are niching in, it has to be a problem that you are going to be solving. So if now talking about as a designer, you have to be looking for an area where it's not oversaturated, and then it you can align your passion to it. So I'll use myself as a case study. I always use myself as a case study because whatever I'm teaching right now is something that has worked for me and I have the results to say exactly what I'm saying. So when I started my career as a designer, I was everywhere. I was everywhere and I was not getting any job. But then I got good counsel. And so I decided to niche. So I niche down as a Christian-based designer. Apologies to non-Christians that are here. I'm just trying to explain an example. You can apply this principle anyway. So I niche down to be a Christian-based designer. And I didn't just stop there. I also niche down to be an apparel designer. When I say apparel, I mean clothing, designing for clothing, not designing clothing, designing art for clothing. So I also niche down to that. And when I did that, I was able to, I was, okay, I was on Fiverr, right? And then I was in the pool of the market trying to do logo design because I was a graphic designer generally. So trying to do logo design, trying to do flyers, trying to say all sorts of things, but I wasn't getting any job. But the moment I, I for designing t-shirts, and then I saw that there's a market for this thing. So I'm like, okay, I narrowed myself down. Okay, I'm a Christian, and then I do t-shirts. So I said, okay, what if I say I'm a Christian t-shirt designer? I narrowed it down, and then I'm like, okay, so now that I have a focus, I know exactly the audience that I'm targeting. They have to be Christians. So I decided to put down the description on my bio. Everything was speaking the language that the Christian would want to hear. So having done that in less than I've been on that platform for I was on that platform for about 2 months. I didn't get any job, but having done that in less than a month, I got my first gig, and then since then I've gotten over 500, 600 plus gigs from people all over the country on that particular services that I decided to render, and I patterned myself that way that this is who I am and this is the audience that I'm targeting. So research comes in, and you have to be solving the problem, like I said. Then test your niche through research. I've said that. So say no to distractions to stay focused. I don't want to dwell too much on this, but this is very important. Last year we talked about FOMO. FOMO, FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Most of the time, the reason why we don't niche because you might just want to try out this thing for like 2 months, 3 months, and like, oh, more, this thing is not working. But remember that you've not grown in this particular area that you say you want to niche in yet. And part of growing simply means that you have to be trying out gigs, you have to like have sample works that are of good quality that when somebody sees, they will want to hire you. So it will take a bit of time for you to actually niche down, and you have to be patient with it. So if you have that FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, it will be difficult for you to stay focused. You'll still be tempted that, okay, I can still go here, I can still go there. By the time you realize, over time, you see that you've really not niched down. You've just been probably deceiving yourself, because you still have to push your energy to be doing several other things, and you're not becoming an expert at anything. So lastly, we have let your niche evolve with growth. So this is where we're going to be spending more time on today. So this is what I call the tree model of niching, becoming a T-shaped professional. So last year, like I said, we talked a lot about becoming a professional. But right now, I want us to actually see that when you niche, it's actually a stepping stone. That's where you start from to be able to spread out. Because at the beginning, what most of us want to do, we don't want to feel boxed. We don't want to feel like I'm doing just this thing and then I can't get other gigs. But we don't realize that if we niche down for a start, we'll be able to spread out along the line because people can now trust you. I was using the example of 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 maybe an electrical engineer who can do mechanical engineering. There are several gigs that I've gotten that are not t-shirt design that I got through being a t-shirt designer, because they now feel like, okay, if you can handle this, then I'm sure you can handle this as well. So a lot of other job opportunities of things that I'm good at, I'm able to get them because I have decided to say I am this, and then I can now spread out. So what does the tree model of niching say? It says a tree doesn't start by spreading branches. It starts. Can we still see my screen, please? Let me just confirm if you can still hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So it says a tree doesn't start by spreading branches. It starts by growing roots, deep, strong, focused roots. So the way a tree grows, it first goes down to the ground, and then he builds its roots down to the ground. So when you're niching, that's exactly what you are doing. So the roots is actually your niche. That's the depth that you build. So if, for example, I say, okay, now I'm a designer, I want to start out, okay, I don't want to be everything. Let me focus on being a brand identity designer. That's you deciding to be somewhere. So now you become an expert brand identity designer. You've grown deep roots down. And when you've grown deep roots down, you start seeing the trunk. Once the roots are solid on the ground, you now start seeing the trunk. So the trunk is actually that core area that people can see and know that, okay, this is my strength. And then when you have a trunk, you now start having branches. So the thing that you're crazy about, like being vast, I want to be here, I want to be here, I can do this, I can do that, it will all come into play once you've gone down, you've built a trunk. You can now start having those branches that you desire to have at the beginning. So your roots, like I said, is your niche. Like I said, you start by going deep in one area. You develop expertise in that area. You build stability in that area. You become grounded and unshakable in that particular skill. So it is this depth that you're building. That's what's giving you the clarity and confidence and an identity in the design field. So you're not, what's the word now? You're not trying to say that, okay, I'm going to be this forever. You're trying to say that, okay, fine, I have to choose this particular, and it is something like we've already talked about passion, we've talked about research, knowing that there's a market for what you are choosing to do. So now you're going to be building on that thing, gaining expertise and building a level of stability, confidence in handling jobs in that thing. You may not be getting jobs in that area first yet. You may not be getting jobs yet. That's fine. There are ways that you can actually build your portfolio without actually, so long as you've tested and you've seen that, because that's very important. You have to make a research and know that there's a market for this thing. Probably there may not be too many sellers that are offering that particular kind of service yet. That's not a problem. What you are looking for is actually if there is a problem like this, because there are some problems that may have not been identified. It is the solution that now brings the problem to light. Like, for example, we didn't necessarily know that we had communication problem until phones were invented. we were satisfied at that level of communication that we were having. So in the same vein, not many people actually know. I'm sorry I'm using this, but it's the best example that I can use, right? Not many people actually know that there are, in terms of the religious group, some religion prefer to work with people in that same religion because they feel like we can understand ourselves better for certain kinds of things that they want to build. So when that's they may not be putting, they may not be confessing it every day that okay, this is this. They may not even know that subtly that's a problem inside. So that's where research come in. You have to go online and then check what people are saying, check conversations that they're having online on Facebook, on do people still use Reddit? I think so. On Reddit, you can, thank God there's AI now. You can use ChatGPT to do research and then know exactly what problems are available within that need, that area that you're trying to go into, because you're trying to carve in. You're trying to find, okay, I know that it is brand identity, but what kind of brand identity designer can I be? I know I had a friend who actually, when this whole Web3 thing came out and it was becoming really, really popular, at the early stage, he decided to become a UI UX designer for Web3. So he was properly positioned. He already had, he didn't have so much on his portfolio. He just had things, he just built um, pages, websites that were focused on that particular niche. So he was a UI UX designer, yes, but it was not a generalist UI UX designer. He could do all of those things, not like he couldn't, but he needed to be properly positioned. So he positioned as a UI UX designer for Web3. On his LinkedIn, that's what you see. On his Behance portfolio, that's what you see. So this guy didn't apply for most jobs, I tell you. So what he started doing, he started making research on companies, startup companies, and then he started building sample sites for them, rebuilding their sites, and then sending them emails. He got a lot of turn downs, but one of the companies that turned him down, I think this company was in was I can't remember whether in France or so. One of the companies that turned him down, a a rival company actually saw what he did for them and they liked it, and they feel like if we take this thing, we'll be better than these people. So they actually chatted him up, and that's how he got that deal. From there, he got another deal. So this guy that was earning 100, 200, in less than a month, he was already earning 3 million when you convert it to Nigerian naira. That's the power of niching. But imagine if he was still in the pool of trying to get job, because the temptation to believe that when I'm doing so much, that's when I can just cast my net everywhere. But there's no fisherman that goes to the sea and just cast their net everywhere. They look for a target location and then they go there believing that when I cast my net at this spot, I will catch. Some days it doesn't work, but most of the time it works better than when they say, "Oh, die and die. Let me just be trying, try here, try there, try there." The energy you dispense trying, if you channel that energy to one spot, that's what niching actually is. So, deep roots, specialization, mastery, niching down. Then, like I said, once you niche down and you start getting jobs, you start building your portfolio in that area. People know you as a professional, and people can associate you with this thing and say, when they think of you, they know that this person is a professional in this. They can describe you properly without getting confused. That's when you now have a trunk. Like what we have here, once your roots, which is your niche, are strong, you're now growing upwards. So this becomes your main professional identity. It supports everything else you eventually become. The trunk is your solid, recognizable skill. Then we now have then we now have the branches. Can we still hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
All
hear
right.
you.
So we have the branches, which will now become your additional skills. That's when you want to spread out. You now have breadth. So it's now when you are now a professional in a particular area, and then you already have a track record, you already have results. It's not going to look like you are everywhere when you are vast. People will describe it as you are vast. But when you are just starting and you're trying to do so many things, it's going to look like you are everywhere because you don't have any. So that's the difference. So that's like the updated version of last year that I'm bringing to us right now, that you can actually niche to a certain point where you can now spread out. I tend to describe it as you are using like a single energy to do several things, because it's not going to look like you are lost in the pool of several things. It's going to look like this person is vast. So after the roots are deep and the trunk is strong, you can now branch out. So these branches represent the other skills that you learn over time. They make you versatile, flexible, and adaptable, but they only grow well because the roots are strong. So if you've not niched, you will not be able to actually become vast. So branches are your generalist abilities built after niching. So in wrapping up, depth comes before breadth, roots before branches. So there's niching before expansion. So you cannot be a strong, successful designer when you are trying to start by building branches. You have to build roots first, and then get your trunk visible, and then get your branches. So I believe that somebody may have questions at this point, right? So if there's any question at this point, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Emilson. I hope somebody learned from the two sessions that we've had, the AI session. So now I would like to take live questions. So let me quickly take Faith's question in the chat. It has been there for a while. Then I'll take question from the live audience. So you get to unmute and ask your question. So get ready. So Faith said, my question to the senior designers in the house would be, what's your lazy portfolio arc? So anybody wants to answer that, even though we've not talked about anything portfolio, but let's just give answer to that before we move on. That is, you are building a portfolio but feel lazy and don't want to be stuck in the I will work on it tomorrow story. So what would you quickly do? What would be your lazy portfolio hack? Anybody? Emilson, Ben, Maxi.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So, I believe there are so many ways to go about it when it comes to portfolio. Yeah, so I think maybe we are confusing portfolio with case study. Yeah, so that's also another thing. Um, I think the fastest way, as you said, lazy hack is mostly using AI. So you can make use of two AI tools, possibly three. One of the AI tool will be used for creating a design brief for you, a well-structured design brief. Understand? Now that design brief will be provided to another AI tool. Now this can be done on both, but sometimes you may want to try and get some unique things out of it. So you might play around with two AI tools. Is that one for creating the design brief for maybe the particular stuff you want for your case study, and then the other will be for creating the case study itself. Now, these case studies can be fully auto-generated, but at the same time, there'll be a case where you'll be asked questions. Like I said, when it comes to interaction, the best is mostly cloud. Yeah, so if you're working on maybe a case study with cloud, it tends to ask you questions. Those questions will be used for refining your case studies, providing something more unique and not something so simple or general that can be created by just anybody. You understand? So in most cases, I advise to. I can share you my screen quickly so you see a typical example of something like that. Although this is different. I don't know if you can see my screen. If you can't, let me know. Um, okay, so okay. All right, so I have a tool here. This is a work tool that we use. I'm sure if you are familiar with ClickUp. So ClickUp is also another tool which is quite good. Now with ClickUp, you're quite aware that you can do a lot of things. One of them is being able to manage your team, You have a whiteboard session on the platform where you want to communicate with team members and the rest. Even have direct chat, just like Slack for channels and the rest is available. But one of the most spectacular thing about this platform is the fact that it has brain. Now, on that brain, it has an abundant AI tool that ChatGPT. It has its own ClickUp brain and also have cloud. I think those also have Gemini as well. It has the top three tier AI tools at your doorstep, and you can easily connect maybe like your Figma files and maybe other kinds of things for the developers, your GitHub for the designers, your Figma file, in which you can link directly to this platform and communicate with it. Now, the only disadvantage of this is when communicating, you can't edit. So when I mean edit, I mean on the other side, you have an opportunity to edit and retry your prompt and stuff like that. It doesn't work here. But now, here is a typical example of a lazy what do you call it? Portfolio.
Easy arc.
Um, can't seem to hold on. Have they removed my content? My sin. So coming. Ah, that's removed my details. You can see these AI tools. Anyway, it's right here. Anyway, it's going to be on 5.1. Ah, it's gone. It's in my chat history. They've wiped it. Oh, God. What the hell? Ah, AI tool in the mud. Let me see if I can get it back. Mm, ah, okay. It's back up. Yeah, so it's tremendously long. Yeah, so let me go back to the top of the conversation. I think this is very helpful for people who are starting off. So I started with an introduction. I told it about my current portfolio. I mean, case studies. You can see there are quite a lot there. And I want to basically change it with live work. So he saw what I had. If literally I just provided information of what I had. Yeah, and then he started with suggesting a modern US portfolio style like the hero, context and problem, goal, process thinking, design solution, outcomes, and reflection. This is literally your lazy information that you're looking for. This is what is used to build that case study that you want. Now, all you need is the information. I'm going to provide you all this. Yeah, basically all this here is going to provide you all this. But for me, I didn't want to go with that route because that is literally what I already have in store. So I wanted something different. So these are my works here, and these are the new ones I'm currently working on. This was the first one I completed right here. Yeah, so the information here were not generated by AI solemnly. It literally relied on the information in which I provided it with. Like for word to word, every context that literally exists on this what they call it, Notion docs were all from documentations I've made over the years on this particular product, Apex. You understand? So I made use of it and I was able to generate as many contexts as possible. Tons of refinement were done. So these are the possible case studies I'm trying to work on, like Apex, BaseWallet, Zovia, and Needy. Understand? So these are actually platforms that are actually live now. My current portfolio doesn't have live platforms. All these are just during my early days as a designer. So I'm trying to scrap them off completely and start something new. Understand? And literally that's what I'm doing at the moment. So as long as you have information you want to provide to the AI, it's able to build off based based off the structure. So this is the basic structure you always see. But this is the modern one: hero, context, goals, process thinking, design solution, and many more. Now, you can make it a bit more unique by communicating that you would like to showcase UI and to help you identify where certain kind of UI can exist on your case studies. So typically, it's something like what I did here. I'm not doing the regular case study that everyone is familiar with, where we are having user problems and stuff like that. Those are for beginners. So this is more like a pure documentation and of an existing product which I built, and not just an existing product. It started from being a revamp to what is currently being used actively by tons of users out there. Understand? So the way you push that kind of portfolio, I mean case study, is totally different from the regular ones which I have outlined here. So if we're talking about the basic ones you're familiar with, you start with the introduction, understand the problem, many more and many more and many more, and then start to come with stuff like showing user flows, showing what they call it, information architecture, whatnot, whatnot. Yeah, but basically this is the basic one, but this is the lazy flow that I'm talking about here. This is what AI will give you. So once you have this structure, you can build on any case study of your choice. But when it comes to the portfolio itself, I think the easiest tool out there to use is Framer. So in Framer, you can find some free portfolio template to work with, redefine it. If you don't know how to use Framer, I think there are a bunch of YouTube tutorials out there that you can watch, which will help guide you on the way. Yeah, so I think that is basically it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Uh,
I hope Faith got that. So, anybody wants to ask any question live regarding AI or niching? Anyone? Before we move on to the next person, you want to ask question about niching or AI? Faith would like to ask question. Okay, can you please unmute your mic?
Okay, so thank you so much, Benjamin, for that. Regarding my question on Milton, to Milton, for example, I'm a designer. I've been a generalist, like working on several projects, right? And now I'm looking at knitting now. But where my passion lies, there's not so much market, so to say. I'm someone that is education based, and most companies that I've seen in Nigeria, I don't know about global, I've not done my research to that extent. They are not really so core on the user experience or product of their product. So what would be like the right fit for such situation? So I have to like maybe just follow where the market is instead of my passion, or what would you recommend? I don't know if you got the question.
MLC, did you get the question?
I could barely hear her. If you got it, you could just go over it again. So I could barely hear what she said.
Okay, are you using a headphone or something? Faith,
I could type the question probably.
I think she could just say it again.
Okay.
Why
Okay.
is
Okay. So I said my question would be um for someone like me that I've been a generalist for the past few years, and now I'm looking at niching down, and my passion lies in the education space. But when I did my research on the educational products, particularly product design, UI, UX in Nigeria, most of the companies that I've seen are not really big on their what's it called, on the interface experience of their product, so to say. Um, so um I've not done regarding global organizations yet, but what would you recommend? Should I still stick to my passion? I should just follow where the market is, like where finance, like we know that fintech, there are companies that are always hiring, they're very cool on their user experience. I can do all of those things, but where my passion lies in the education space, or what would you recommend?
Okay. Well, I think first of all, let me put passion in a proper context. All right. So you can actually teach your. Can you hear me? Can we still
yeah,
hear me?
yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay. So I personally believe that we can actually teach ourselves to be passionate about things. So that's one thing that you need to have at the back of your mind, first of all, that something that you may not be passionate about today, you can actually teach yourself to be passionate about it. It just depends on what exactly you think you can make out of this thing. So if we're talking about education, as education being your passion, and then other areas that you feel like these are actually more more in trend, right, or in demand right now, you can actually teach yourself to be passionate about those other areas. So passion in this context, we're actually trying to say that don't do something that you know that you're having a hard time doing this thing, but you still keep pushing, you still keep pushing, you still keep pushing. if you're supposed to take, let's say, a day or two to, because we said passion in the context of becoming an expert in that particular field. So if something that's supposed to maybe take you a week, or okay, let me say 3 months, so it doesn't sound, let me say 3 months to learn, because you don't have interest about it, you might spend 6 to 7 months learning that thing, and you'll not be making any good progress in that particular area. So I think the first, if you are if going to go into the fintech or other areas that are in demand, it has to be something that you train yourself to really like. Because even if you go in there, you may still struggle because it's not something that you are really interested in. You really want to do education. So we're saying passion in the context that you have to love exactly what you're going to be training on. So that would be like a motivation for you to keep pushing, even when you're not getting jobs at the beginning. But if I would advise you on what exactly to do, I feel that you can actually explore the global opportunities that are available in education, because the if you're looking just in Nigeria alone, they've not done the research broadly as we're talking about. You have to look at global opportunities and like, okay, and then you're not looking at it in the context of how much I'm going to get necessarily. You're looking at it in the context of, is it in demand? And then there are, because I'm not really vast in the educational sector, so I can't be super specific. But I believe that if you look, like really, really look, there will be some areas that, okay, this area seems like a promising opportunity, but it's not saturated. I don't know if you understand exactly what I'm saying. Who asked the question? Faith. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Faith. Can you hear him? Our network might have. Okay, Faith. I can see Faith.
She's
Faith,
still
can
here,
you
but she's not.
hear? Yeah, maybe your microphone.
Okay. Okay, I think we should put,
Okay, you
so
can.
so
Yeah, you can just round up, like finish up what your thoughts. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So okay, so basically that's it. You have to really do the research, because you said it yourself, you've not explored the global opportunities that are available. So you can't just conclude within your locality here in Nigeria and say, okay, there are no opportunities. There are actually vast opportunities in education that if you do your research properly, you would find something that your heart can click with, and like, okay, I can look at this area, and then you keep narrowing down till you hit a gusher. So that's what I think, if you are going to ask for my opinion. But however, you can actually teach yourself to love what is in demand and do what is in demand, and you make something good out of it.
Okay. Um. Thank you, Emilson. So teach yourself to have passion. Like teach yourself a passion. Yeah, and explore global opportunities and try to be passionate about it. Right. Okay, great. So we have. I'm going to take one more question before we go to the next person. So we have some pre-submitted questions, right? And some of them we've answered them while we're talking, but somebody says I wanted to ask this because it's still in the line of what we're talking about. Someone said, "What is the first thing you do when a client contacts you for a job?" So this question is from Azizat Adeboye. What's the first thing you do when someone contacts you for a job? So MEC, since you are in the like niching space, so what do you do when somebody reach out to you on this platform? Like what's the first thing you do?
Okay, I'll answer practically. I don't
Okay.
get too excited because when you start with excitement, you almost want to close the deal like instantly. And clients can sense desperation. They'll feel like, can this person actually handle it? They might not say it, but they'll just tell you, okay, they'll get back to you. They may want to pay at the instant, but because there's that sense of desperation, like, okay, you just want to go right and then close the deal so that you can be happy, like, okay, a client reached out to me and all that. So you have to be patient with the client, and the first thing to do is to build a relationship. I know that what I'm saying may not be making sense. Like, okay, client is chatting you up, you're talking about relationships, just collect money and go. But the way you actually pattern the conversation, like when a client reaches out to me, even if they've said what they want, I always make sure to ask them what their name is, and then just like send a greeting, like, okay, thank you for reaching out to me, my name is this, I would love to know your name as well, I'm chatting from Nigeria, blah 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 blah. So I'm actually behaving like I've not really the first 2 or 3 messages have not exactly acknowledged that you have stated you want to do this and all that. So after I've done all that and then I've asked you a question that I'm quite sure that you want to respond, because I'm trying, the whole idea is to get the client hooked, because they are reaching out to you, they are reaching out to other people as well. So the most interesting conversation is the one they will spend their time in. So make the client your friend first. I know it takes a while to build friendship, but you understand what I'm saying. Just make the client enjoy the conversation. They'll want to talk more, and somebody that has invested like maybe 15-20 minutes talking to you, they will not just want to dash out and say, I can't use you anymore. A part of them is already there, so they will want to go for that. Okay, can we reduce the price? When you start talking about pricing, I've had clients actually talk to me that way, and then they say they'll get back to me. When they come back, they'll tell me that, okay, they actually reached out to a lot of other people, but they just felt that connection, that okay, they can really work with me. No connection, anything. You just enjoy talking with me. And then already on my bio, there's a description that I put that I enjoy interesting conversations. So you already feel like you know me even before coming to chat with me, because you feel like, okay, I can be myself around this person. I can ask any question I want to ask, any funny question, they are ready to answer. So don't go for the money first. That's the point I'm trying to make. Just try to get them comfortable talking with you. Once they are comfortable talking with you, you can put forth your best offer, and they will not run away. Most of the time, they will not run away.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to have Benjamin. Benjamin is going to talk on handoff, how to seamlessly hand off your designs to developers. Yeah. So Benjamin, the floor is yours. So please also listen attentively, prepare your questions, and we are here for you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so just give me a moment. Let me. Okay, trying to share my screen briefly. Okay, please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Okay, fantastic. All right. I will just be talking on the art of seamless handoff. So earlier this year, precisely by May, I had a conversation with Lizzie on this subject matter, art of seamless handoff, and today is just going to be a little summary, nothing out of the ordinary, just to run you through what we discussed, and a little snippet of the practical session also will be included. So let's kickstart. About myself, I'm a product designer present in Sterling Bank. Also, on my leisure, I'm also a mentor. We have teach and mentor over 50 mentees under my belt. So here is just a brief outline in regards to design handoff. So I will just be crisscrossing the slides as we go. So now, what is really design handoff? You know, I'll just paint a scenario that we all know most times. Most times we designers, we are very good at our crafts. We are very good at pushing pixel. We're very good at doing the necessary designs, doing the necessary intricacies, all these things that we need to always put in place. But when it now comes to the aspect of now passing the baton to the developers, there is always a bridge. There is always a wall. It's like a brick wall that is kind of not able to interface with the person that will eventually implement your designs. So those are the things I'll be speaking on. I'm going to use some practical experiences, discuss some things regarding that. And that is what we are discussing tonight, Art of Seamless Handoff. So what does this really mean? Transferring design assets, specification guidelines to developers, ensuring a smooth transition from design to implementation. This is where we have that saying that the developers have turned my beautiful design, which is jollof, and they have watered it down and pedaled it down to a watery okra soup or a watery egusi soup. So that is what we have been seeing over time. Designers can attest. Most developers nowadays, they tend to just water our designs down. So how can we bridge the gap between these two co-partners in the product life cycle? So those are things we're going to be discussing. I have a quote here, and it's from Brenda Laurel. Design is not finished until somebody is using it. If you are writing, please write and underline it on your notepad or iPad or highlight it, either way you want to do it. Design is not finished until somebody is using it. And what do we mean by that? In a very simple layman term, until a user, until someone is already using that product, your design has not ended. It hasn't ended. It's a continuous process. Until I am using it, until Lisa is using it, until Faith is using it, forget it, your design is not finished. So that is just the practicality on this quote. Let's move ahead because of our time. Importance of design handoff. So what are the benefits of doing a proper handoff? Ensure accurate implementation of the design vision. Reduce development errors and misunderstanding. Improve product consistency and quality, save time and cost in the long run. These are advantageous when we are doing a design handoff. See it as an opportunity. It's a progress, it's not an event. Most designers see handoff as an event. Oh, let me just send my Figma prototype link to him and I'll just sit on the couch and just relax. Please, that should stop. If we are doing that, that should stop. That is not a hallmark of a great designer. We must be someone that should constantly be on the toes of the developer to ensure that they make an accurate implementation of the design that you have done. I move ahead to the core pillars. So now, what are the core pillars? If I were you, I will put that on my fingertip. 4 C's. 4 C's. Communication, clarity, consistency, and collaboration. I can't overemphasize the heartbeat of communication. Communicate with various stakeholders, not just developers now. Communicate across board. Product teams, business team, co-founders. If you're working with as a freelancer, engage your client. If you're working in an organization, be it early stage, mid stage, or enterprise organization, engage the various stakeholders. I made a mention on that in the last time that if you are not able to communicate, if you're not able to articulate your design decision, to me, you are failed as a designer. You can take that to the bank. Because to me, is a product designer should have at least 60% of at least soft skills. The remaining 40 or less than that is more or less just the design part. You must be someone that can articulate, someone that can communicate, present, and also be involved in the product life cycle. That is the hallmark of a designer. Number two is clarity. Now, what do we mean by this? Specs, behavior, edge cases. When you're designing, most designers don't even think across those areas. I just designed my various interface. Let's use an example. I did one earlier in the month or earlier in the week. I was designing a device management platform where if a user comes to the platform as a second device user or second device, there should be a prompt that will give user that, oh, a new device has been detected, or a new device verification with a little sub content underneath it, then for them to now prompt them to continue the process flow, where they now have to ask them the security questions vis-a-vis other informations. Now, that new device detected, there is a prompt already that indicates that, oh, yes, I'm coming as a second device user or second device or second person logging into the platform, and I have seen that a prompt shows me that there's a new device detected. It means that, oh, there's another account that wants to log in to that platform. So all those things, you need to ensure there's clarity. But most times when we just design a flow, we just go straight without putting in consideration those kind of edge cases. Now, consistency using design system, I can't overemphasize that. You should maintain a consistent design system. Ensure that the buttons you are using, the color of the buttons is consistent, and you're not that maybe you're using a one side of the Figma design, you're using purple, the other one you're using blue. That automatically will create a level of confusion for a developer. Then collaboration, not just handoff, but partnership. Please be friends with the developers. Let me use that word in a simple term. Be friends with the developers. Then don't be at loggerheads between each other. Don't be at loggerheads between each other. As much as possible, let's collaborate together, because it's not a solo stuff. It's a collaboration. We are working towards a particular goal, and the goal is that we're ensuring that this product go live and the users find satisfaction using the product. So let's move ahead because of my time. Now, how do we organize your particular flow? Yes, we have organized file with naming convention, visual spec, interaction documentation, state, asset, responsive behaviors, design tokens, written documentation. I'm going to camp around written documentation. Please, as much as possible, let's document. I know in this part of our world, we don't document things at all. We just hand off the designs, we just throw it to them, bam, without even say, okay, let's put appropriate details, appropriate informations to the developer so that they can get well acquainted with it. Now, let's go to some tools. There are various tools we use. Industry standard going forward now is Figma. We have Sketch, Adobe XD. To me, they are in the, let me just say they're in the era of extinction, if they're not in extinction already. Then we have collaboration tools like Zeppelin, Avocode, Abstract. Those are other collaboration tools, but you need to find what works for both parties. If it's Figma, please let's use it together and ensure that there's a lot of synergy between both parties. Then project management tools like Jira, Trello, Asana. These are like maybe sharing ticket, update, and all those stuff. Then documentation, Notion, proper documentation around your various informations, maybe the various specifications in regards to the color or regards to the buttons. You got all those informations are very vital for the developer. Now, what are the best practices? Stand handoff early, collaborate continuously. I can't overemphasize that. Collaborate continuously. Organize your design files clearly. Don't go and be having frame 1052 when you're supposed to change the frame name to login or to splash screen. Automatically, you're creating confusion for developers. Provide detailed specification, including the spacing, font size. What font did you use for the input field? What font did you use for maybe the title header and so on and so forth? Let that be indicated, documented as much as possible. Then document user flows and edge cases. Walk them through the user journey. Precisely use a video walkthrough. If you have done a particular design already, walk them through the journey. Do not just say that, oh, I have done my part, and you throw the Figma link to them. Walk them through the journey. Tell them areas where they need to pay very close attention to as much as possible. Then communicate context and intent. Share the why behind the design choices. Plan for feedback. Be available. I notice every time that when we just hand off design, we just go to sleep. Please, going forward, be available. The developers always like to ask questions. Oh, what do you do here? What are you supposed to do there? Because they need clarity on how they can easily implement what you have designed. Or else they'll water down that design, and you might not say that. I'll be complaining and maybe asking why did they do that when you're not available to engage them in those kind of conversations. Set up channels, schedule design devs, then common pitfalls, incomplete and unfinalized designs. This is pertinent to all designers. Please, as much as possible, if you have completed a design, ensure that it is ready for devs. Do not just have incomplete designs hovering around your Figma file. Then lack of context and user intent. Don't, I said earlier, don't just hand off screens. What we do now, we just hand off screens to them without going through the journey with them. Poorly organized design file, ignoring edge cases and states. Then briefly, I'm just going to walk you through the a little aspect on just a little practical aspect, how you can easily structure your design. I hope you are still following. If I'm not missing anyone out in our conversation.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm trying to, okay. So, please let me know when my time is up, because I can't really see anything now. Okay, now this is just a little design project I did. Normally, if you're designing a full-blown application, expect nothing less than 100 screens, because you're putting everything into consideration. Now, this is what I'm talking about in terms of naming convention. I don't know if you can see my screen, please. I want to just confirm. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Fantastic. All right, so yeah, now let's discuss all these naming conventions. You have read the slide briefly. Now let's go to some little practical intricacies here. Now, when you are naming your pages, please name them accordingly. There's no one size fits all here. I see mine, I have mine as cover. This cover here is to include your project title. Now mine is Digimoney. I'm using a fintech platform as a case study. Yours can be different. You can use, if yours is EdTech, you should have a project title for it. You have it in this format, more or less in a thumbnail. So this is how you're supposed to present it. I just put title. You can also include other information there, maybe mobile app, all those other little information that can uplift this particular page. So that is what it is. It's just an avenue to just present what this particular information is all about. Now, we're going to overview. So this is more or less a very little of a detailed information. Now, look closely at this. This is where you now have to include your problem statement, include the goals, include the metrics, cost milestone, risk and constraints, design proposal, etc. This is where you have to include all those information. Oh, what's the project all about? What's the goal behind it? What does success mean in this? And so on and so forth. So those are areas you include all those information there. These are just static image, but if you're to do this, you can elaborate on it further. Then we have documentation. Here we have the competitor analysis, personas, empathy maps. These are detailed information. Now, these are UX design process. Not all of them are going to use. It all depends on the project you're working on. So if yours is just maybe tailored to like competitive analysis, personas, we are good to go. Other times it can be all of them. Sometimes just a few that you use. But as much as possible, just ensure that you are documenting everything in there. Then we have design system. So now in design system, this is just a skeletal view. Design system can be very broad. You have your colors, you have your grids, you have your components, and so on and so forth. So this is why we now have to fill up this place with the design system, showcasing the typography, the colors, the components, the icons to be used. If there are motion and animation, you can also infuse it here. So that's where you can easily tailor everything there. Then we have the mobile design. So this is where now in terms of mobile design, maybe you can have like various iterations. You can have like version 1.0, version 1.1, you can have the final design. It all depends on the conversation you'll be having with either with your client, either with the product team or the business team. It depends on the kind of setting you are in at that moment. So you need to have that kind of conversation with them. So now, if you look closely at this now, I'm going to just speak towards how you can annotate, how you can easily touch around those edge cases. I spoke about edge cases. I'm going to show you how you can do all those things and many more. Now, if you look closely at this design presently, you see that when you click on this prototype, let me take this out. Let me take this out so that delete annotation. Okay. Now, if you look at this carefully now, you can see that I prototype all these screens you're seeing here at the moment. I prototype all this you're seeing at the moment. Now, if you look closely, you see that all these are prototyped: onboarding, onboarding 1, onboarding 2. Now, see how I was naming my files. I made this as splash screen. I made this as onboarding 1. But what most people do nowadays, you just put them as frame 1000 and something. This is wrong. This is a very bad approach when you're naming your frame. You expect to name it appropriately. Onboarding 1. So that's how to name your frames. So these are the designs I've done. Now let's go to a very pertinent area. Now let's assume that I've designed an input field and I'm trying to type in my email address. There are every tendency that a user can type a wrong email address. Now let's just say Benjamin Osage at, maybe I'm supposed to put Gmail, but I could not put the Gmail. Maybe the spelling is wrong. There must be a prompt that should say that, oh, this is an error. Now, how do I do this? Okay, let's see. Yes, you can see that I have an error. So it means that I've typed in a wrong email. So there must be a various step behind everything. Do not just assume that, oh, the user will just type in their email address freely. You must showcase periods where they have error states. You must showcase period where they have gone through the process successfully, like this now. So those states are very important when you are designing. So please take note of that. Now, when it now comes to, maybe I have gone through all this now, and I have a success message. This is how it should be. Congratulations, XYZ has been done. So this is literally how your process flow should be. Now, if I want to now make annotations to most of them, let's assume that I want the developer to know that this text is interbody, interregular 1420. I can just come here, take this out, give a little annotation. Where is the annotation? Okay, annotation. I can bring it here now and just tell them, change the category to development. Tell them that, okay, the email address text is 16 pixels. Wow, that is the according label text 16 pixels, and the placeholder text is maybe same 16 pixels. So you need to just clearly define these annotations we're doing here. So with this now, developers can easily understand areas where they need to pay very close attention. Yes, you still have a documentation you need to show, but putting all these annotations to are very vital when you are also handing off to developers. So now look at these states now. This is an OTP. Let's assume that I want to verify my email address after I've entered my details. I have an OTP here. This is on unfilled state. This is an error state. So you can see this now. Maybe I typed in the wrong code. It should have a prompt that says that, oh, the code is incorrect. So don't leave users guessing that, oh, I've just typed in the wrong one. They should know that, oh, the code is incorrect. Oops, let me go and change the code. So that is how to work around it. Now, I know my time is gradually up. So let me touch on this. So now, how do you go on dev mode? If you're using, on free plans, you can't access dev mode. That's quite unfortunate. You can't access it. But if you have an educational plan, you can access it. If you have a professional plan, fantastic. So now, I have an educational plan. That's why I can access this. So now for dev mode, it's very simple. When you click on one of these, you go to this bracket. You see here, dev mode. Tap on it. You see all the information regarding this particular frame. All the information are enlisted here. You can see the codes, you see the background style, the color that is being used for the background color, the various color used for these information, these interactions is also there. The assets are used, the icons are used, all are enlisted here on your dev mode. So this is what you see, especially from the aspect of the developer. These are what developer sees. They see all these informations. You kind of check all these things. Okay, 2020. This is what 20. They check everything. You see, all these and many more. These are what the developers do. Same here. They check all this information, and that's what they use to now implement their own designs, or implementing their designs using VS Code or other IDE. So then now I spoke about edge cases, so that will be the last thing I will say. Then I will draw the curtain on this session. Now look at this. Let's assume that I'm sending the money. Let's say I'm sending money to Lizzie, 5,000 naira, using this particular platform, DigiMoney. Now I have here beneficial account number, blah 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 blah. Yes. After I enter the information, I read the transaction details, and boom, I have a congratulations message that showcases that this particular amount is processed, or you will get the amount XYZ. Now, this is a happy part. This is a happy part. What if we don't? What if a situation happens that I walked through the same part and I could not, the fund was not transferred? What happens next? This is where most designers miss it. You need to also include error message. This is it. You need to also include error message. Most developer asks for this every time. They need the error message because there can be system error, there can be network error, there can be things that can occur. You need to also showcase that also. Because most times developer will just do some scanty modals that does not really make sense. That's why sometimes you see user script 200. So as a designer, you're expected to infuse all these things when you are handing off. It's very important. Now, other one is empty state. Most times when I want to sign up to a platform, this is what you should also see. You should not have real data yet because I'm coming to the platform for the first time. What are you expected to do? You should go to showcase an empty state that should say that no transactions. Those are little things that we need to take note when we are handing off to developers. Yes, most times developers take it upon themselves to do that, but it is the designer that's supposed to put all these things into consideration when you are handing off. Okay, so I think this is where I will draw the curtain because I think my time has been exhausted. Over to you, Lizzie.
Hi, Ben. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the practical showcase. I hope somebody learned something. Does anybody have any questions or ask? Please put it in the chat and then we'll come back for it. So since we are still talking about the designer developer series aspects, so let's quickly bring Brenda up. Brenda, please, 5 minutes. Just give us tips, arc, and then we'll take all the questions around designer and developer
Hello,
together.
Lizzie. I will not take 5 minutes. Sorry. Nana, the fight must start between developer and designer because the designers have been taking a lot of
No,
time. Apologies to the developers on this call, but now it's our turn. I'm just joking.
Brenda, this fight is the audio. It must be a healthy
All
we are
right.
here to
fight.
I
we are
just,
here to
I just,
solve the fight. So let's not be the one to start it, Dejo.
all right. I just wanted to lighten up the room. Yeah, so my name is Brenda Okoro. I will not bore you about myself, but yes, I'm a full stack developer. I build mobile applications and then I do a bit of backend. And also a design thinker, if I can add that to my CV, because I care a lot about design. So it pains me to my heart when I see terrible designs or a designer makes me to redo work or scatter my code, like we will see. For instance, changing button or having a button that is squared and then changing it to round button somewhere in the application, we will fight. Yes. Okay. So I'll start by saying that with this saying from John Maxwell, which says teamwork makes the dream work. So when we both collaborate, Benjamin has been speaking a lot about collaboration, communication. Yes, when we collaborate together, it ensures that we achieve the goal of the product. So collaboration is very, 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 very important. So I won't waste much of our time. We already had a very exhaustive slide when we had this developer collaboration series. I think I was among people that started the series earlier. So I'm just gonna move forward. So now, why is collaboration important? I know that during the presentation of Benjamin, he mentioned this part about the importance of collaboration. So I'm just going to list out the reasons. Like he said, it enhances user experience. So when designers and developers collaborate right from the design phase, even from the low fidelity design phase, I'm talking about using the likes of Basmatic and the rest. I don't know what you guys use now though. uh but for those wireframe stuff, the low fidelity design, when you include developers will be able to see like some trade-offs. The developers might suggest that, oh, this thing wouldn't work functionally, because the way developers think is different from the way a designer think. A designer is looking at, okay, I want this product to be a jollof product, like Benjamin said, and not okra soup. But we developers, when we are building, we are thinking about functionality, how to make it work, how to make it effective, how to scale so that in the future, when we want to expand or add more features like AI, for instance, it won't scatter everything. But a designer is just thinking about chipping some pizza, like, yummy design to people for people to use. So now it's when we collaborate together, it enhances like a very, very smooth user experience. It also saves time and reduces rework. Um, Benjamin was just sharing a very good design document In that Figma, we could see that, and kudos to that. Yeah, I'm happy when I see good design work like the one that Benjamin shared. It's actually very, very exhaustive. When I'm working on a product and I'm using Figma, I hate it. Apologies, that's a very deep word, but I hate it when I will have to call a designer and be like, hey, designer, please, I need access to the assets, or I can't see the dev view, you know? So, for instance, let's say I'm designing something in Figma, like Benjamin shared, and I want to download like a particular icon. I mean, I've checked for Android now, there are some predefined system level kind of icons, same for iOS. And you designer now, make another vex. You designer, you you design this very, very beautiful icon that is not system wise, right? So now I want to download it and I can't access it. So you then provide the design view for me to access it, or maybe it's a company wide thing because they didn't pay for that premium version of Figma or whatever. And it will frustrate the developer because I will now start falling back to using a system icon, and then we have deadlines. So we care a lot about deadline, meeting deadline. I know designers also have their deadline, but we are all working. But because at the end of the day, if a designer is done with the end-to-end design and a developer is still working, at the end of the day, it's developer that we shout, that they will shout at, like, why are you guys slowing us down? You're slowing the whole team down. Meanwhile, we are having back and forth with design. It shouldn't be so. So we need to, present good design documents and make the handoff um, swift and straightforward. It also leads to having like innovative solution. Like I said, if you involve a designer, a developer in the design phase, and we suggest one thing or the other, it will actually lead. We could suggest innovative solution to improve the products overall. Yeah, I presented this this simple design when I was during this session earlier this year, and I'm not. This is not a good versus bad design. Point of correction. This is a designer has handed off, this design, and for some reason, the company had to, like, let's upgrade, the design, but there was no communication between designer and developer. Now, take for instance, I've written like, let's say, a let's say 500 lines of code for this sign up screen, for instance. And then I'm already like designing the dashboard or the home screen, and then I get a call from the team leader. Oh, this is not looking at the design. I'm like, I'm very sure this first design here, this is the design. And you go back and you say, oh, they've changed it. Okay, what happened? I was not communicated. And for some reason, the designer might be like, oh, it's just Google login that they added there. And it shouldn't be a biggie. I mean, just a button, that kind of thing. It can be so painful because you wouldn't know that, oh, this might scatter some part of the code, or it involves some sort of documentation. I'm just saying, it depends on the function that you want to implement. So communication is very, very important. Again, it's very, very important to communicate, just like Benjamin says. So yeah, there are also several designs like that. You can see it might just be a little change. Even if you need to change something, it's the same thing too within developers. Like backend changes something, breaks the front end. Communication is very, very important. There's nothing like small change. There's nothing like, oh, we are just changing the button, or we are just changing it from white background to dark background. No, there's nothing like small change. Involve the developer with every single changes that you're making. So here are some common challenges between designer and developer collaboration. When, like I said, communication gap, I've given several examples about communication gaps. So it could slow the whole team down. Now everybody would just, it could even make everyone miss a deadline. For instance, let's say we want to launch an MVP by, say, December ending, and there's this back and forth and miscommunication between the designer and the developer, is going to slow the whole team down. So it is very, very important that we communicate better. And inconsistent implementation of designs. For instance, like the design I first showed now, if there's no proper communication, what designer wants, maybe designer did a button with a particular color code. For instance, if you look at this first screen, you could see that this login button and the login button here, they are different color codes. So if I don't have access to the right color code, you're stressing me already, because I'll just go and look for one random blue. I mean, I'm a developer, I don't know colors. I'll just say blue something, just put blue there. I'll just put blue there. So, um, so we need to communicate better so we don't have inconsistent designs. And again, when we have different workflows and tools, Benjamin also shared different kinds of tools like Figma, InVision. There are several, and like Benjamin said, the most common tool is Figma. I mean, everybody uses Figma. Yeah, but if, for instance, a company is using a different tool, we should all, try to stick to that tool and know how to use it effectively. And again, a common challenge is late involvement of developers. I mean, why not involve us for design sessions? Just put us there. I know we don't like meetings, but trust me, we'll listen and we'll provide feedback. So now, best practices for successful collaboration. It foster open communication. I can't emphasize that. Use developer-friendly design tools like I listed earlier, like the Figma, InVision, Zeppelin, and we should try as much as possible to have automated workflows. I mean, there's Trello. You could use Slack if that's what you prefer. You could use Jira, for instance. I know that some companies, they don't usually like creating like tickets for designers. I don't know why, but if I'm sure that designers have a way that they track their progress and all that. So if, for instance, now there's like an ongoing design sprint, and then we are in like a product meeting, we would actually know that, okay, this is where the developers are at, and this is where the designers are at. So when we are in a general meeting like that, we could like contribute things to like what they are building and ask questions that, oh, we are trying to design a chat page, for instance, what do you guys think? Do you think this color is okay? We've carried out different research, research. This is what our users are saying. Bring such things, user analysis, user research, bring it to the meeting. Let the developers be involved also, so that they could tell you the functionality downfall to, going in that direction. And of course, very, very important, feedback mechanism is very important in every stage. All right, at this point, I will just wrap it up here. Thank you so much. So we can take questions now.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you so much. So does anybody have question around Andolf? Is there anybody that's currently having a quarrel with their developer right now? You want to ask questions if you are right or if the developer is the one that is wrong. Uh, is there is there anyone in the call that thinks that they might be arresting their designer soon or shooting them on site? Yeah. So maybe now is the time for us to let you know that you should calm down. It never reach that stage. We can solve it amicably. Anybody, any question? Okay, I'll take the silence as a no question. So we have some pre-submitted questions, and I'm going to ask them, and we can all learn from them. Did did somebody raise their hand? Okay, nobody. All right. So, guys, anybody can take this. Somebody, Toluwalope, asked 5 questions. Is Toluwalope on the call? I think I saw her on the call. I don't know if she's still with us. Yeah, he or
Yes, I'm
she.
still here.
Okay, she. Okay, Toluwalope is still here. So she pre-submitted 5 questions. Number one, how to create and maintain a design system from scratch or use kits available. So Toluwalope wants to know how to create and maintain a design system from scratch, and any kit that is available. So Ben, do you want to help us? Yeah. Brenda, you can also contribute to, design system that you use in your development. Maybe Ben should go first, then Brenda, and then anybody else.
Okay.
Sorry, let's try
Great.
and keep the responses brief, so that we can take as much questions as possible.
Okay. I will cut it short in righteousness. Yeah. So in regards to design system, well, there are various let's say UI kits now, or design system kits that we can use in terms of design. One of them is material design system. Like for my company where I work, we have a design system that we use. That is like our holy Bible. So, so we don't deviate from what we use in our own company. But if you're like a freelancer or maybe a startup that don't have a design system already in place, you can lay hold of material design system. You can also lay hold of there's also another design system I also use sometimes for personal projects. I use Trainer. It's a community. You can access that. I think it has over 500, how many now? 500 informations, models, and so on and so forth. So, but in terms of designing from scratch, you can also do it, but sometimes it can take time. Let me use that word. So most times, just use kits around like material design system, like Reina, like I mentioned of, and so on and so forth. I hope that answers your question.
Tolu, I hope you got a little bit of response
Yes.
there. Okay, so I know the spelling of material design. Everybody can like relate to that. The other one,
So
can you
let
please?
me let me let me just put it here. Reina, I think Reina Design System. I think that is the
So
word.
that you can check it out.
You can check that out. I use that for my personal projects, so you can also use that also.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so the next question Tolua Lokpe asks is, what are the things to consider or look out for when designing websites that convert and is not just aesthetically pleasing? So she wants to know how to design a website that converts and not just to make it look pretty, but to also convert, you know, customers. Oh, I forgot to ask Brenda to contribute to the design system. But okay, don't worry, let's just move on. So, what are the things to look out for? Anybody? Okay, I think I'll take this one, and then any other person can just add to it. So, one of the things to look out for in a website, like when you're designing a website, one of the things that you should be mindful of is the usability. Only a usable website will convert. If it is just beautiful and it is not usable, it's not seamless, it's not simple, people might just be dropping off from it. Okay, fine. It's good for the website to be aesthetically pleasing because it attracts it attracts the customers, right? They feel like, oh, this looks sophisticated, this looks like they know what they are doing. But the moment they attempt to use it and it is very difficult for them to use, they drop off. So, and if people are dropping off, you definitely will not convert that way. So it has to be like usable. All right. Then another thing is the information on the website. So in now we're in the era of AI. You know, Benjamin said something at the start. He said we just one of the things that is going to leave behind is allowing AI to do everything and human beings not interfering, right? He said it does not advise it. So we're in the era where AI gives us content. And a lot of people don't go back to go and edit and simplify those contents. We just put it on the designs like that, and then it goes live. And then what happens is that we end up putting content that are complex, that are basically not saying anything, but they are all over the website, you know. But when we put simple, straight to the point content, like your website does not have to have the information. You see one section, the text on it is so much, and we forget that we human beings, we don't read, we only scan. So if a user comes to the website with the intention to scan and pick and click, but while they are scanning, they are not seeing anything because the information on the website is too much, then they are definitely going to leave because they have not seen anything. Okay, so those are I don't know if anybody wants to add to it. Like anybody might want to add to it. We have Cielo here. We have
Let me speak to it. Thanks, Lizzie, on that. I don't know if you can see my screen. Look at this website. I think I like it. I would do it practical so you see how the hierarchy, the information hierarchy is done. This is career-wise. Previously, they have a website that was, I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm sharing presently.
yes, you can see it.
Yes. Career-wise has on the home section, I think they had a little motion are designed there. But now they have changed it to something else. Now, look, if you look at this design now, you see that the information are not wordy, quote unquote. They are like came straight to the point. Just keep it here and there. That's what you're seeing here. Watch your money do more. One app, all your savings, blah, 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 blah. Then look at the other section here. So these are kind of information hierarchy where they're speaking about. So you see all these informations too. You see some little beautiful animation illustrations just embedded on the design. You know, look at how it is. This is literally what a website should be. It should be functional. You don't just stack overload of content. Because to me, people don't read. People don't read things again. They just look at few informations here and there and they run with it. So just look at how this website is. So that is the hallmark of the website. It must be functional, it must be usable, it must have a proper information hierarchy. Also, there is the level of SEOs. That one's an advanced one. I don't want to go into that. That is search engine optimization. I don't want to go into that. So this is literally what a proper website should be. Should be something that when I come on a website, I should see something that catches my attention and log into the platform. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's what I will just share.
Thank you so much, Ben. This typically explains exactly what I was saying regarding the content. You can see the content on this
Oh,
website. So minimal,
sorry.
so straight to the point. One section is not full with four long lines of text or five long lines of text. The max you can see here is two and a half, you know, and the way the information is being like they want you to see one before you see the next based on hierarchy, based on what is important. And the CTAs are very, very clear. Okay. There are some websites that confuses users where you see go now, are you going? So, you know, like which one do you want me to do, right? The CTAs are not clear. You know, you click on something and the CTA is telling you cancel or no. Cancel and no are both negative words, right? So is it no, I want to cancel, or yes, I want to cancel? Or do you understand? So these are the kind of things that obstruct conversion. So if you can put all of these principles in place, the website is definitely going to convert. And then the aesthetics would also like add to it. The aesthetic is first thing that they see, which is good, but the usability is what keeps them. So Cialo, we have Cialo in the house. Is one of the founders of behind the Beyond the Wireframe. So Cialo, if you want to contribute to this, please feel free to contribute to this. Would you like to, or should I move on? Cielo is muted. Okay, let's move on to the other question. I'll still take Tolu Alope's question so that we can move to the next person. How do document design, including tools used and pretty much everything used in completing a design project? I think that is one of the things that Benjamin showed us. It showed us the documentation, it showed us the flows, it shows us, he talked about the tools that you can use. So I don't want us to go over that again. But if you have a specific question in that area, put it in the chat. Tolu, I'm going to check it and then we'll come back to it. Then the fourth question is, what is the best way to hand off to developer after design or during an ongoing project? I think both Brenda and Ben mentioned this. Somebody said, I don't know if it is Brenda or Ben. I think it was Ben that said your handoff should not be late. One of the issues that we have is late involvement of developers, right? So I'm going to allow Ben to answer that question. So what's the best way to hand off to developers? I know you've touched on it, but just give a simple answer to that.
So you said, can you just write through the question? I think I
What,
missed that.
what's the best way to hand off to developer? Is it after or during an ongoing project? When is the
It's
best
after,
time?
it's after the project. So let me just put a little caveat to it. Now, when you are designing, like I said, you are going to involve them right from the onset. They are full. The designers are the developers are aware of the designs you're or the project you're working on. They can also filter some comments here and there. Okay, this doesn't work, that works, and so on and so forth. So once that is sorted out and that is clear, you then gonna hand it off to them at the latter part. Now, like I said in my discussion, don't go and hand off and go and sleep. And do other things. Get involved. Be involved with this particular project you're working on. So that is majorly it. It's after when you're done with design, you now hand off to developers. But that doesn't mean you should go and sleep. That is the time you now have to press their neck, press Brenda's neck, press any developer you see until they do exactly what they're expected to do. Then forget it.
Like Benjamin said, you hand off like after the project. But like you said, I also like to put another caveat. You involve your developer early as well. So you involve them in your process. You let them know. So if you're thinking about something, one new thing that you learned or that you saw online, and you're not, instead of you just going because you want to pull stunts and show that you are badass, you can just relate with your developer, understand the technology behind it, if it is possible in your project, or if they have the technical capabilities, to do that. You understand? So, in as much as you are handing off the file, the everything that you built, that you created at the end, you are involving them early in your process. Okay, so you can involve them based on milestones. Say you have designed the authentication pages, you can send a part of it or let them section a part. You can tag it in a particular way and let your developer go through it, while you work on others. You guys can, so, oh, this looks good, this it's not about the looking good, really. It's more of the functionality and the technical know-how behind it. So that's that. Does anybody, okay, I think we've had enough contribution to that. Let's move on. How can designers not sacrifice usability slash user friendliness and aesthetics for technical development requests by developers? Kai, let me read this again. How can designers, so yeah, Tolu is asking, as designers, how should we keep usability, user friendliness, and aesthetics for technical development requests by developers. I'm not sure I get it. Tolu, can you explain that question to me?
Okay, so basically, from what everyone has been saying, and I think Benjamin and Brenda touched on it, it's basically not sacrificing usability or user friendliness for functionality, quote and unquote. That's what developers will say, that they are just concerned about functionality. Basically, can users press this button and can it work? There are instances where you want to implement something because it's user friendly and whatnot, but developers are like, nah, we don't want that. Just make it as bland as possible so that it works. That's basically it. How do you not sacrifice one for the other? You have
Yeah.
everything and it still works.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to cite a scenario that I cited when I was on the Beyond the Wireframes session. So there was a deliverable based on what the client wanted, but the developer does not want it because of the technicality, like the technical capabilities that comes with it. And I think that a lot of times developers, maybe now is the time for us to like, I think this is the not that now is not the time for us to fight, but now is the time to actually open you people's yash, because this is what usually cause fight. Like what
Are we stepping here?
Ah,
Wait,
yes,
wait, wait,
yes,
wait,
yes.
wait, wait,
I love this.
wait.
wait,
Hold up, hold up, hold up,
Ah,
hold up. I will
wait,
still use your
you
same example, Lizzie.
you people
Designers
should
have been
calm
talking
down.
since. Benjamin has been answering all the questions. Lizzie is still answering questions. Same on this same question about functionality and the rest. I was working on
Okay,
something and they were already this laid up design. They told me that okay, these designs are for MVP, right? And then along the line, I had gotten up to a stage before the main screen. When I mean the main screen, like the home screen, the onboarding phase is actually very, very like elaborated. So, and I now got a call that oh, we will need to change the designs. It won't take time. And I'm like, okay, let me see. And I'm seeing that the changes involve like changing the background, the button color changed, and they're like, it shouldn't take time. And we have our deadline, and designers have their deadlines. So in things like that, there's supposed to be a meeting between the designers and the developer. Okay, what is this change going to affect? Is it going to affect functionality? In this case, yes, because which we moved from having separate pages like a page view. We moved from that to something else. And if you've already implemented a page view like something like a slider, right? And now you want to change it to something else, guy, you've already scattered my code. To you, designer, you are making it finer. So why are we not going to fight? Of course, you are going to fight. So when you are making your changes, please ask a designer, is this going to affect the functionality? Is this going to involve a lot of code changes? If that is the case, then we should have a trade off. Like I had to discuss with the head of engineering that, okay, let us come to a middle ground, right? This is what I'm going to do. Generally looking at the whole changes on Figma, I can see that it has this background. I'm just going to apply the background to everything, but I'm not going to change anything that will involve changing of functionality. Okay, the buttons have changed, right? I'm just going to create a custom button widget and apply this to it so that in case in the future your designer comes and say, oh, this is the raining button color now that is flying out there for so app, then I can easily change it. But seriously, we need to start having these conversations about, will this change, will this design affect the functionality? If yes, let us stick to the old design and just launch the product. Simple.
okay,
what of if it's the product team that insisted of should change it? Maybe they have to now switch to a different business model.
Go
What
and
would you do
fight
then?
with your product team leads. Let product team lead fight with design with engineering team lead. Let the fight start there. Thank you.
Oh,
Tolu, Tolu wants to say something. Please.
Okay, let me give a personal an example from my personal experience as a designer. So I've worked on a project where it had to do with an advanced filter. That's just one instance, but an advanced filter, right? As a designer, there were simpler ways to make the filter still functional and user friendly, but from the development standpoint, they wanted the filter as elaborate as possible, meaning every entry should have like an input, which was crazy to me and it was ridiculous. But they insisted on that. So it's like this is not user friendly because you're giving the users extra tasks just to filter, use this advanced filter. Meanwhile, there's a simpler way to go about it. They are actually implemented simpler ways. Maybe the developer just didn't know how to. I can't speak for them, but that's basically what I'm talking about. So I had to trade usability and user friendliness because technically the developer wanted the filter a certain way for it to work in his own words. So that's just basically it.
Okay. Thank you, Tolu, for that detailed explanation. So I think in this scenario, how do we solve this? First, is there a product manager on the team? That's one. I know that there are some projects that it's just between designers and developers, right? And you just have to relate with the project that there are no project managers, there are no product managers, right? So that might be difficult because you are relating directly with the developer. Another thing that we can do is sometimes some developers can be very stubborn, right? When I mean stubborn is that because they have this mindset that they are the ones writing the code, so they understand it better. And some people, some developers, they don't see a designer, a designer as a technical team member. You hear them say, so for the technical team and the non-technical team, and they are classifying the designers as non-technical team, which is actually very wrong. Everybody, both the designer and developers, are both technicals. You might be the ones writing the like technical code, you understand it, but who is designing that thing that you are coding? And as a matter of fact, the designer also needs to understand the technicality behind what you are doing so that everybody can achieve the same goal. So I'll say that one way that we could have solved this is have a call and show them what you mean, right? Hopefully that the developer is not too stubborn to admit, or reach out to the product manager and let the product manager like explain your own, like, because you are the one designing the experience, so they should listen to you before they listen to the developer, you understand? And then because we are showing, right, like showing, present your screen, show them how this is actually much more easier than the one that allows the users to click on different inputs because they want to filter certain information. So once they can see that, right, hopefully they like agree to it, you understand? So those are the two ways that I see it working. Okay, so now Brenda, calm down. I said reach out to the product manager.
This
So
conversation.
I said I said reach out to the product manager. The reason why I said product manager is because the product manager understands the timeline and would also understand the experience. The product manager is in the best place to then give us a go ahead on what to do. You understand? The product manager is now the one to bridge the gap, you get. But in the case where the product manager is not there, Ren, then you can just, even when the product manager is there, if you show them screen and explain to them, hopefully they understand. But the product manager is the, and that as professionals, we cannot go against the product manager's verdict, you understand? Because they manage timelines, they manage this. If the product manager sees your point, he or she is going to tell the developer to stick to it. But if they don't see the point, they might override yours. So we cannot really say this is what you go do. Everything is dependent on the product manager, to be sincere. But if there's no product manager in this scenario, just reach out to developer, explain to them. And I know that there are some developers that even after you explain to them, is what they want to that they want to do. You just see that the project is live and you are seeing what what you are seeing is not what you designed eventually, but you just have to try your best. Okay. So I think that's the last question from Tolu Alope. So let me just take another person's question. So Emilson, there's a question for you. Emilson, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. So since this is really something that you have talked about before, what would be your number one advice for designers who is starting their agency in these difficult times? In these difficult times. So by difficult, I mean this person is talking about how saturated the market is, and you are the best person to answer this question. So what would be your advice for a designer who is starting their agency, meaning that this person wants to stand alone and want to start their own thing? What would be your advice to them?
In these difficult times or in these recent times, I would say take advantage of AI. I think somebody, I think somebody has done justice. The very first person I believe did justice to, and I think Lizzie also have like there's a particular session that has been done sometime early this year, was it last year, on AI. So I think you need to maybe you can hit up Lizzie, listen to that, take advantage of AI, right? And then what I would say again is that you need to give your time to actually because when you are able to the word research, it actually means to like as in research. So somebody has done a search on it before, so you want to like do again, you want to find again, you want to find again. So research never stops. So until you find something that really satisfies you and you want to test it out. So I can't really say this niche is best or that niche is best because almost all the niche they are saturated. But
Yeah.
if I find myself in a situation where I have to give up everything, I'm speaking like practically to whoever asked the question now. I find my situation in a space where okay, everything that I've started doing, everything that I really believe that it's working, it just turns out that it's no longer working, and I have to start from scratch. What I would actually have to do is to keep researching till I find something that I know that I can really enjoy doing this thing and it will be profitable for me. And I'll do it and then it will work. So there's really no like special or shortcut to say, okay, just get into this niche. Before you get there, there are people already rushing into that place. So it's not really going to work that way. But it might work by luck. But we're not looking for work. We're looking for a process that you can repeat and repeat and repeat, and it keeps working anytime, any day. So you have to really find what is going to like find a problem within a particular field that you know that you can creep in and then solve. It may not be something really big, something just subtle that people may not have noticed, but you just present it in a special way that like, oh, okay, so I can actually get a specific solution for this particular problem. And then you are the go-to person because you started it. So
Okay.
that's what I'll say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, there's a question. Somebody asked about design system, but since we've sorted that, so I wouldn't want to pull us back on that. So somebody's asking about typography. I would also like to know more about typography. I see good fonts I want to use, but I'm mostly paid versions. So Ben, do you want to, or should I go for it? So this person is saying that they are not sure of what kind of font to use because most of them are paid. What they find online are paid.
Sorry, see that. Okay, what defines is paid.
Yes.
In terms of typography, well, I would say I would say use if you are maybe designing a product. I would say use sans serif fonts. Well, there are some free fonts that you can use. I know that most of us want to touch base on some paid fonts because of our for legibility and readability. But well, I don't. If you have the funds to buy the funds, that is fine. But to me, I will just stay around using those free funds, which are for commercial and personal use. That is where we pitch my tent on. I say,
Okay, thank you, Ben.
yeah,
So in the chat, I dropped a link that I would like everybody to check out. If
yeah,
you click on it directly, to take you to a library of fonts. I
funds,
think
yeah,
the best bet for everybody is Google Fonts. Just stick to Google Fonts, right? But if you don't want to go outside, like you want to be creative with your fonts, then you can use this site. It has a lot of typeface libraries that you can select for, where you can download them instantly. And most of them are free. Some of them are free. Some of them might be paid for, but you definitely see a lot of free fonts on this site. And this site is so versatile. You can use it for website inspiration as well. But specifically clicked on the one that will take you to the font library, and also you guys can probably save it, or make good use of it however way you want. So thank you guys. Next question. Somebody is asking on seamless handoff. We have sorted that. So um I think we have basically taken all the questions, if you ask me. Let me see. New to product design, want to learn how best designers and developers collaborate to bring a product to life. I think we have elaborated on that. That's from Sunday David. David, do you have any question you want to ask live? From everything that we have talked about, have we answered your question, or you want to ask something precisely? David?
Yeah, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, this is my question. I want to ask that for someone who has been in a particular niche for and has been known and is getting maybe clients monthly, but and this person has transitioned to probably a new niche, which is not earning him more, though he doesn't have a lot of clients on that niche, but it's not anymore. But the other niche he has been into for years still getting clients both new clients and returning one. What would be the advice? I think this is for Emilson. What would be the best advice on how to deal when this work is now becoming overwhelming, and of course it will be affecting the level of delivery? What advice will what advice are we going to give this person in order to tackle this kind of scenario? Is it advisable for that person to stop getting clients from maybe the old niche, maybe trying to is it like telling them that maybe you are not doing again? I don't know. Or I don't just know. If there is any piece of advice I can get on that, we will appreciate that.
Okay, Emma, so did you get that? Emerson.
Yeah, sorry, can you come again?
So,
Okay, I
in
said
summary,
for someone
can you just
that has
summarize
been
it? Okay.
I said for someone that has been a particular niche and been well known, maybe gets clients monthly, new and return, and he also has maybe old clients that are returning every month. And this person transition to a new niche, which is not any him or her better. What advice will you give to such person, especially if he doesn't want to stop the, let me say, stop the other niche how do you think this person can, especially when the work is now becoming overwhelming, how do you think this person can handle that?
I'm not sure I'm getting your question correctly. Maybe if somebody does, they can explain
Okay,
again.
he's saying that he was currently in a niche that he has been known for, right? And then he moved to another niche that is paying more, but he's not getting clients in the one that is paying more, but he's still getting clients in the previous one, and the previous one is getting overwhelming, right? David, am I passing the message
I
across
mean,
well?
combining the two, not that the second one is not getting money, but the earning from the new niche is more than that, more than the old niche. But the
But there
work
are
is
no
not
clients
becoming,
in the
but
new
the
one.
economy, no, both you are getting client from the old niche, but it's
From
not
both.
becoming overwhelming. Are you going to end
Oh,
the other niche, or what better advice will you give to this person? That's my question.
Okay. I think that question is quite away from. I'm going to answer it, but it's just quite away, like away from niching. But then, first question I would want to ask you before I answer your question is, why did you move from a niche that like is paying very well to something that is paying less?
Oh, I think you missed
the
the
new one
message.
is paying more.
Okay, the new one is paying more.
Yes.
Yes, but you have large, like you have been known for the older one, and you not get clients monthly, both new ones and the returning one.
So you
So
get
do
clients
you?
on both.
Okay, so you get a lot of clients on both
Yes. So
niche.
now it's becoming overwhelming. So how does he like
So if I understand you correctly, you are a freelancer. You not like you are under any company.
I'm under a complaint also.
it
I'm
is
doing
it
freelancing.
does both. He works for a
Okay.
company and he's also a freelancer.
Okay, he works for
Yeah.
a company and is
And
also a
also
freelancer. Okay, so
freelances,
you see why I
yes.
said the question is quite dicey. Okay, so the niche, the which of the niche is it the new one? Is it for a company? Like just explain to us so that we can understand. Because if I don't understand the question, I'm not able to give you a proper answer.
Okay. What I'm saying is that, for
Huh?
example, I said what I'm saying that I used to be a flyer designer, social media designer. So I moved into brand identity design, which is now paying me more. But although most of the most of the jobs are NDA on the new niche, which is the brand identity. But I know the the problem is that in that flyer or social media that you have been known for, you have clients that are coming in monthly and that can even wait when you say you are not available. So what I'm now asking is that how do you now, what is the best advice you can give to that person?
For me, I feel in this scenario, it's actually simple. It depends on which of the niche is actually paying you more because you won't say that both of them are giving you like the same thing, so you want to hold on to both of them. We talked about distractions before when you are trying to carve out a niche for yourself. So if you feel like, okay, I want to move from this point to this point, I feel like this one is more promising for me and I have a better opportunity, then okay, you may not be able to just move like straight away and just cut all of them off, but you now have to start filtering which one should I take and which one should I not take, because you have to say no. If you really want to be focused on some things, then you have to say no to some other things. You can't have everything on your plate and still want to have more things on your plate. It won't work. So you have to say no to some things that are coming from the previous, well, you now channel that time. Please take notes. Channel that time to doing more things. And then the aim of niching is not, yes, we know that making money out of what you need, I would say, is a byproduct. You're actually wanting to become an expert so that you can, I don't, not many people like to think about it this way, but you have to be willing to now give back as impact. So you are going to become an expert. You are laying a path so you can give back. So once you set out your mind to become an expert, making money is going to be a byproduct in that process. You understand? So you don't just tail it and say, okay, this one is there, like there's more money, more money. If you keep chasing money around, you end up being in so many niches within a very short time frame. So I don't think like that's the wise way to do it, like tracking and saying, yes, money is good, and we tend to focus on money most of the time, but that's not the best way to go about it. So that's will be my best answer to that. I don't know if I really understand the question properly, but from what I understood, that's what I'm answering.
Okay, David, did you get that? The, or maybe you can send the question to me. Let me send it to Emilson directly, and maybe you guys can have a full detailed conversation on it. But do you, to
I
an
think,
extent,
yeah, with what he said, I think I already understand uh, what is communicating.
Okay, what answer did you get specifically? Let me be sure.
So the thing is, you need to understand that you can't take everything, so you need to start saying no to some certain things just to make sure you are able to achieve what you want to achieve. So that's what I found helpful, and
Okay,
then I think I'm going to start implementing.
okay.
okay. All right, thank you so much. So does anybody have any live question? I'm not, we don't have any is there any live question in the house before we go? Anybody, any question? Dorcas, D, Alima. Okay. So I believe that's all. So thank you all for joining. We started with quite a number of people, and these are the people that we finished together. So thank you for staying true to the end. Really appreciate your time, and thank you for making this worthwhile. Thank you to Ben, Emilson, Brenda, Ben, Onyebuchi had to go attend to something. Uche had an emergency, so he couldn't um, he couldn't join us, and Maxi probably have something to attend to as well. So, but in all, we're still able to achieve our goal. Thank you all for joining. So this is the last workshop for the year in the community, right? So thank you to everybody that has been with us since last year. Some people have been here last 2 years. Alima, for instance, has been here like say last 3 years, and she's still with the community, you know. So thank you all. Next year we are going to go bigger. One of the things that we're going to be doing next year, just to give you, is we're going to be having a HTML CSS class for designers. It'll probably take a week, some days, I don't know yet, but something for the designers to also understand the aspect of this code that these developers think we don't know. See, as Brenda want to fight me now, top technicality and functionality. So when we understand some of these things, we're not going deep, we're not saying you're going to be coding, but you're going to be understanding where they're coming from, so that when you're designing, you put all of these things in. Those are the things that actually helped me when I was growing, right? I learned from Dominic, my friend. He taught me all of those things, and that's why sometimes when I'm not sure, I just ask my developer, would this work, would this fly? So I think we need that class in the community, so that designers can also understand where these guys are coming from, so that we can sync more. So that's like a sneak peek of some of the things we'll be doing next year. We're still going to be doing AI next year as well. Like Benjamin said, AI is evolving. Like AI started when AI become so rampant, I think early this year or late last year. And now Cloud is in version 5 for what? Like so many versions are out, so many tools are out there. And it's even very, very impossible to keep up with these tools. Like, so we cannot be done with AI. We have to keep aligning ourselves. As a matter of fact, I don't take AI class. because I don't classify myself as somebody that understands it all yet. So I prefer to give it to somebody that I know that these people are very good with, or like they've gone fast into it. But I use it, right? I use it a whole lot. I use a whole lot, but I prefer to give. So we are going to be having more AI classes, and next we're also going to be doing research. Like we didn't really touch anything research this year, right? But next we're going to be doing, because that's one of the things that we designers are lagging. Somebody just reach out to you for a job, you just go to your Figma, start putting pixels together, right? And you leave the UX part of it. So we're going to. So I'm just giving you guys sneak peeks so that you know that this is not the end of it. This is just the beginning of a new era. So you guys should invite your friends to the community, like share the link to your friends, we've talked about niching. Research what you want to niche on. It's something that I also need to do as well. What do I really want to niche on, like next year? Spend your time making that research. you know Rome is not built in a day. You keep trying and trying to figure it out, right? Niche, find something to niche on, right? So thank you again. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Emilson. Thank you, Cialo. Thank you, David. Thank you, Dorcas. Thank you, D, Alima, Toluwalope. Thank you all guys for staying. Please stay in the community. Invite your friends to come. We have bigger plans next year. We are going bigger next year. Probably we might even be doing something physical next year. Who knows? Let's trust God that He's going to help us to to get bigger. So please stay in the community. We are coming back next year, and we'll continue from where we stopped. But we are going to be growing more, you know, teaching more in-depth topics so that we can stay relevant in the marketplace. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. So sorry for taking your time. And I apologize for my network that was fluctuating at the beginning. My village people decided to show their white teeth today, but God passed them. Thank you guys. See you in the next round.